It's like going out on the town with friends, just in an online world filled with monsters, gangsters, dinosaurs, and... okay, it's nothing like going out with your friends. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 open-world multiplayer games.
Are you a fan of games like Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, or Super Mario Bros.? Visit their roots and find out which iconic franchises made it into the top 10 of our most influential video games of all time over on our gaming channel, Mojo Plays.
For this list, we're looking at open-world games with great multiplayer modes and multiplayer games with a great open world. But we won't be including MMORPGs because there are just too many good ones to choose from. On with the list. Number 10, Red Dead Online.
Paulie, please show our guests to their tent and give them some fresh clothes to put on.
Very good, madam.
Then serve us both a little refreshment.
Certainly, madam.
Considering that the online component to Red Dead Redemption 2 is working well in beta and that it had a smoother launch than GTA Online, we're including it in our list regardless of the fact that it's still in its infancy. Sure, the in-game economy has been the topic of much contention, but we survived the exact same issues with GTA Online and will survive it with Red Dead as well. In fact, pricing changes are already on their way from Rockstar. The ability to hop into co-op multiplayer with a few buddies and roam the huge open world, including new missions, is well worth the price of a few growing pains. Number 9, Destiny 2.
All right. Let's see what we've got.
Things looked dicey for a while in early 2018 with the online community waning, but the release of the Forsaken expansion pack finally made up for all the game's initial shortcomings and gave players the version of Destiny 2 they were clamoring for all along. The beefed up story, decreased restrictions in the weapon system, and improved raiding and gun chases felt like Bungie finally listened to their fans. In doing so, they saved the game much like they did with the Taken King for the first Destiny. All things considered, Destiny 2 should now have a nice, long run for years to come.
Embrace the darkness. Take out those guardians.
Number 8, Rust. Who knew starting off a video game with just a torch and a rock could be this much fun and this tense? Yes, the progression system is a bit of a grind, blueprints for useful tools are hard to find, and you need a ton of materials to build anything of use. But with hundreds of players on the same server, Rust thrives in creating pure, griefing mayhem. Co-op is possible, but hey, let's be real here. Why loot and grind when you can just steal rare and valuable materials from other players? Playing this game honorably would be a full-time job and half the fun. Number 7, Borderlands 2.
Hey kiddo, Jack here, president of Hyperion. Let me explain how things work here. The Vault Hunters show up, Vault Hunter looks for the new vault, Vault Hunter gets killed. By me.
While there isn't nearly as many players online as during its heyday back in 2012, the re-release of Borderlands 2 and 2015's Borderlands: The Handsome Collection for PS4 and Xbox One extended its online play into the current generation. Luckily, the game uses peer-to-peer matchmaking and doesn't run on dedicated servers that would require upkeep, so you can still log on and experience the game's story in co-op mode to this day. It's basically the same as single player, but the difficulty increases the more players there are. So, if you're going into battle with 3 other friends, expect a serious challenge.
Apologies, but when Claptrap speaks, I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one. I shall be out directly.
Number 6, No Man's Sky. Yes, we've slam dunked on this game in the past, and for good reason, but with steady updates over the years and the release of a major expansion in Next, this game can finally be played in true multiplayer fashion in parties of 2 to 4 players with up to 16 players allowed in the same star system. And you know what? It makes for a solid experience. Sure, all these updates didn't really address how arduous the grind and resource system can be, but we're just happy to finally explore the vast solar system of No Man's Sky with a few friends like we initially wanted to back in 2016. Number 5, Ark Survival Evolved. Another survival game makes the list, and yes, this one requires just as much grinding as the others. At least with Ark Survival Evolved, there are up to another 99 players in the game's huge open worlds to mix it up with. The progression system also really does feel meaningful, affecting gameplay in more ways than merely just an increase in stats. It's best to team up with some buddies to help gather resources, but like most open world survival games, don't be too trusting of random strangers, as the name of the game is survival, and it's far easier to grief than to grind. Be sure to hide your base securely. Number 4, don't starve together. This standalone multiplayer expansion to the single-player survival game Don't Starve is even more fun than the original. It feels more refined, adds new features, and provides you with far more freedom in terms of how you attempt to not starve. On top of this, it still looks amazing with its Tim Burton-esque art style and creepy atmosphere. The operatic soundtrack will keep you immersed in the open world for hours on end. Seriously, you might want to set an alarm when playing this one. Time is guaranteed to fly by. Number 3, Monster Hunter World.
Oh boy, that monster is really mad now. Be ready for some vicious attacks.
While it can be overly complicated and frustrating to actually get into an online game with friends, roaming around the vast open world and slaying prehistoric baddies with a few pals is one of the best features of Capcom's latest Monster Hunter game. Oh, and arm wrestling other players in the Gathering Hub, of course. Instead of being divided into strictly single-player or multiplayer campaigns like previous games, World allows a seamless flow between the two, and you can even get help from other players online while going at it solo, giving it that Dark Souls feel we all know and love. Number 2, GTA Online. In hindsight, it's funny to think that in the early days of GTA Online, it wasn't the critically acclaimed multi-million-dollar juggernaut that it is today. Server issues and connectivity issues almost made the game unplayable, and Rockstar had to apologize profusely while quickly addressing the problems. These issues were fixed, of course, and the game quickly took on a life of its own outside the single-player campaign, growing into an all-out day-in-the-life of a gangster simulator. The fact that it is still one of the best-selling games of 2018, 5 years after its launch, is a true indicator of just how good this open-world multiplayer game really is. Number 1, Minecraft. Here's another oldie but a goodie that started out on last generation tech and is still going strong, with its release on the Switch being perhaps its best port yet. The lack of instruction or direction can be a turnoff to some, but the freedom and creativity that comes with it is the main reason this game still lives on a decade after its release. It's an enduring favorite of children and adults alike. All these years later, the simplistic old-school visuals are just a part of the game's charm. Who would have thought? It's an extraordinary achievement in not only open-world games, but multiplayer ones as well. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.